Ngos Bunga forgive Jesus.
Maria da son nke Chukwu, Rebara Ninja yo, Kita na Manawai, Amen.
Nyaju odibo nwanyị nke ose blowa.
Kore Bukisi Ku.
Ekene Maria Egypt na Gracia ose blowa nonyeli ịdị ngọzi n'etiti igboro niile ọ jazi ngọzi Bunga forgive Jesus.
Maria da son nke Chukwu, Rebara Ninja yo, Kita na Manawai, Amen.
Okwu emela arụ. Ekene Maria Egypt na Gracia ose blowa nonyeli ịdị ngọzi n'etiti igboro niile ọ jazi ngọzi Bunga forgive Jesus.
Maria da son nke Chukwu, Rebara Ninja yo, Kita na Manawai, Amen.
Yọbara anyị ayọ ọnne nke Chukwu dị asọ. Ayịyọ anyị na-ayọ gị o Chukwu ka inye Kraịst anyị n'ime obi anyị ka anyị bụ ndị njọ butere ozi ọma wee mali were arụ Kristi nwa gị site n'afọ ya na obi ya wee bata n'osito na mbilite n'ọnwụ ya site na Kristi dị ime anyị. Amen. Otito dịrị Nna na Nwa na Mmụọ Nsọ. Otito dịrị Nna na Nwa na Mmụọ Nsọ. Otito dịrị Nna na Nwa na Mmụọ Nsọ. Ka mkpụrụ obi ndị niile kwere nụ gara aga. Ka mkpụrụ obi fa zuru ike na ndokwa.
Amen.
Onye nwe anyị nọnyere ụnụ. Ka Chineke ji ike niile gọzie ụnụ, Nna na Nwa na Mmụọ Nsọ.
Amen.
Listen to news updates on Ebonadi 103.5 FM immediately after Angeles 6 o'clock a.m. and 6 o'clock p.m. weekdays. Stay tuned to be updated, to be informed. News updates, live reports. Ebonadi FM breaks the news with actuality.
I believe that if we are looking for a new Nigeria,
You can as well listen online via mixlr.com/GFM.
Good morning and welcome to Ebona, the 103.5 FM news updates today, Tuesday, the 6th day of June 2023, and the time is 4 minutes past the hour of 6. Martin Ifan Chukwekeze is my name. The headlines. Catholic priest abducted in Anambra regains freedom. Enugu residents defy governor's directive, continue observing sit at home. NLC, TUC suspends proposed strike after meeting with government. Residents raise alarm as refuse take over major streets in Ebonyi. Nigerian army raids baby factory in Abia, rescues 21 underage pregnant teenagers. Biden administration shrugs off Ukraine's attacks in Russia. Now, details. Catholic priest abducted in Anambra regains freedom. A priest of the Nnewi Catholic Diocese, Reverend Father Stanlesos Mbah, who was kidnapped on Friday evening by gunmen, has regained freedom. Chancellor of the diocese, Reverend Father Raphael Edogu, said the priest was released on Sunday after staying in captivity for 2 days. The diocese thanked Catholic adherents and their friends who joined them in prayers for the release of the priest. Edogu, in the release, said, "With joy, Nnewi Diocese is announcing that today, June 4th, 2023, Reverend Father Stanlesos Mbah, kidnapped 2 days ago, has been liberated. We sincerely thank all of you who joined us in prayer for God's intervention. Please join us in happily acknowledging God's compassion once again. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and forever shall be, world without end." The priest, who is said to be a student of Nnamdi Azikiwe University, was kidnapped on Friday while driving from Oka to Nnewi, No details of his release were given as of the time of filing this report. Enugu residents defy governor's directive, continue observing sit at home. Residents of Enugu State have defied the state government's directive to ignore the Monday compulsory sit at home order issued by the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB. Newsman reports that roads, schools, banks, markets, and other public places were completely deserted on Monday. The state governor, Peter Mbah, had on June 1st declared no sit at home in Enugu effective Monday, June 5th. He directed individuals and corporate organizations to ensure full-scale business activities in the state. This is to inform all schools, markets, retail outlets, hospitals, transporters, malls, and the general members of the public that, in view of the recent ban, cancellation of Monday sit-at-home by the government of Enugu State, in all nooks and crannies of the state, they have been directed to go about their normal businesses and activities every day of the week, including Mondays, the statement reads. Mr. Mbah stated that his government will be ready to engage in dialogue with people who have genuine grievances so as to foster lasting peace and security in Enugu State, adding that the order dwindles creativity and productivity of the people. Newsman reports that many residents of the state have lost their lives for violating the sit-at-home order by the proscribed group. NLC, TUC suspends proscribed strike after meeting with government. Nigerian labor unions have suspended the prescribed strike schedule for Wednesday, June 5th, after meeting with government officials at the presidential villa in Abuja. Both parties met 2 days, but no resolution was met to halt the proposed industrial action. Labor unions are opposing the removal of fuel subsidy by President Bola Tinubu, causing petrol prices to jump over 500 naira per liter in different parts of the country. Nigerian Labour Congress NLC President Joe Ajero and his team arrived at the presidential villa at about 5:45 p.m. on Monday. The NLC was absent at the meeting between the government representatives and organized labor on Sunday. Representatives of the Trade Union Congress TUC were, however, in attendance. Federal government representatives at the meeting on Monday included House of Reps Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila, Dele Alake, spokesperson for the government's delegation, Group CEO of NNPCL, Mele Kari, former governor of Edo State, Adams Oshomole, and former governor of Ogun State, Ibukunle Amosun. Our correspondent gathered that labor unions agreed to halt the strike for government to introduce plans to cushion the effects of fuel subsidy removal on Nigerians. Bajambia Miller said the federal government, the TUC, and the NLC will establish a joint committee to review the proposal for any wage increase or award and establish a framework and timeline for implementation. The federal government and the TUC and the NLC will review World Bank Finance Cash Transfer Scheme proposed inclusion of low-income earners in the program, Bajabiamila said. The federal government, the TUC, and the NLC to review the CNG conversion program earlier agreed with labor centers in 2021 and worked out detailed implementation and timing. The labor centers and the federal government to review issues hindering effective delivery in the education sector and propose solution for implementation. The labor centers and the federal government to review and establish the framework for completion of the rehabilitation of nation's refineries. The federal government to provide a framework for the maintenance of roads and expansion of rail networks across the country. Prior to the meeting, the National Industrial Court restrained the labor unions from embarking on any form of strike, ruling on an ex parte application filed before the court. Justice O.Y. Anuwe restrained the defendants, the TUC and the NLC, from embarking on the planned nationwide strike Wednesday, pending the hearing and determination of the motion of notice dated June 5th, 2023. The judge also ordered that the defendants be immediately served with the originating processes and the motions on notice and the order of the court. Residents raise alarm as refuse take over major streets in Ebonyi. Barely 8 days after former Governor David Nweze Umahi handed over the mantle of leadership to Governor Francis Nwifuru of Ebonyi State, refuse is becoming apparent on major streets within the Abakaliki metropolis. The routine disposal of refuse coordinated by the State Ministry of Environment, which aided the cleanup of the state, is gradually disappearing, as residents of the Abakaliki have raised alarm over the strange development. Residents who spoke with newsmen expressed dissatisfaction over the increase of refuse at strategic locations across the metropolis and noted that with the heavy downpour constantly witnessed some days ago, the development could be led to the decomposition of these refugees and the outbreak of diseases if nothing drastic was done to tackle the menace. Reporters' investigation revealed that the entrance to Chinedu Obas Avenue, New Biripi Market, Bernard Orogo Street, among others, have become an eyesore to residents of the state. At Siren Hotel Road, a new dump site has emerged as refuse are seen indiscriminately dumped in the area. A resident, Mr. Nnamdi Oji, called on the present administration led by Lieutenant Honorable Mwifru to activate refuse disposal mechanisms that will guarantee proper and sustainable cleanup of the state. This development is not making us happy at all. If nothing drastic is done, there could be an outbreak of diseases related to airborne. These refugees are increasing by each passing day. The appointment of Commissioner of or SA on Environment is very critical now, so that responsibility could be taken up in ensuring that our environment is healthy, conducive, and habitable. Nigerian Army raids baby factory in Abia, rescues 21 underage pregnant teenagers. Soldiers attached to the Goodluck Ebere Jonathan Barracks 14 Brigade headquarters of the Nigerian Army in Ohafia local government area of Abia State on Sunday raided and rescued 21 pregnant teenagers in a baby factory in Abia State. The 14 Army spokesman, Lieutenant Prince Innocent Omale, who confirmed the raid, said the soldiers acted on a tip-off. He said the rescued pregnant teenage girls have been handed over to the state government. On 4th June 2023, troops of the 14th Brigade Ohafia raided a baby factory at Umubei Mvosi in Isialangwa local government area of Abia State. The baby factory was operated by one Mrs. Mma Lillian Ashumba. Troops on arrival at the facility rescued 22 ladies, out of which 21 are pregnant, and 2 babies, a boy and a girl. Items found in the place include a Tiger generator, a stretcher, a gas cylinder, a bag of rice, 4 cartons of tinned tomatoes, 5 liters of vegetable oil, 2 bags of garri and soup ingredients. Troops raided the baby factory following an intelligence report that the owner of the factory was selling some of these babies to criminal agents for racial purposes and others for child trafficking. Now we move over to the foreign scene. Biden administration shrugs off Ukraine's attacks in Russia. During the first year of Russia's war in Ukraine, the Biden administration tweeted constantly that if Kyiv hit back inside Russia borders, President Vladimir V. Putin would retaliate against not only Ukraine but also possibly NATO and the West. But those fears have evaded. As Ukraine's counter-offensive edges closer, a series of bold attacks in Russia, from a swarm of drone attacks in Moscow to the shelling of towns in the Belgorod region bordering Ukraine and an incursion into the country using American-made armored vehicles, have been greeted by the Biden administration with the diplomatic equivalent of a shrug. It's not like we are going to go out and investigate this, John F. Kirby, the National Security Council spokesman, said last week in a reference to whether Ukraine or Ukrainian backup groups were behind the attacks in Moscow on Monday. Fighters attached to at least 10 villages in the Belgorod region with heavy shellings, his governor said. Behind closed doors, senior administration officers have seen even less face. Look, it's a war. One senior Pentagon official said last Thursday, this is what happens in a war. American officials view the cross-border attacks as preliminary operations for Ukraine's possibly unfolding counter-offensive, a sign that it will have multiple phases. The operation, they say, are an important test of Russia's defenses and a flexing of muscle ahead of the big military push. That is a far cry from the administration's tiptoeing last year, when American officials took pains to make sure they were not giving Ukraine weaponry that could hit inside Russia, citing escalation fears. We are not encouraging or enabling Ukraine to strike beyond these borders. President Biden said last May in a guest essay in the New York Times, just 2 months after he scuttled a European proposal to send MiG-29 fighter jets to Ukraine. We are not going to send to Ukraine rocket systems that strike into Russia. Fast forward 12 months, and Mr. Biden has signed off on sending Ukraine F-16s and equally lethal fighter jets. This is why we draw the curtain on news update on Ebon at the 103.5 FM. But before we leave, a quick look at the headlines. Catholic priest abducted in Anambra regains freedom. Enugu residents defy governor's directive, continue observing sit at home. NLC, TUC suspends proposed strike after meeting with government. Residents raise alarm as refuse take over major streets in Ebonyi. Nigeria Army raids baby factory in Abia, rescues 21 underage pregnant teenagers. Biden administration shrugs off Ukraine's attacks in Russia. You just listened to news update on Ebon at the 103.5 FM news. Produced and read by Martin Ifeanyi Chukwu Ekeze. Thank you for listening. Once again, good morning.
Listen to news updates on Ebona, the 103.5 FM immediately after Angelus, 6 o'clock a.m. and 6 o'clock p.m. weekdays. Stay tuned to be updated, to be informed. News updates, live reports, with actualities.
I believe that if we are looking for a new Nigeria,
you can as well listen online via mixlr.com/GistFM. To be or not to be, do you have acting skills? Do you have what takes in acting? Here is the opportunity you have been waiting for. Baboa Production presents audition for the radio drama Jericho on Ebona 103.5 FM. For more information on how to register and feature, visit Ebona 103.5 FM inside European Residency Hotel Ugigi opposite Omunike Boys, or you call 080-391-67049. Don't miss out.
Ladies and gents, as we take you on this smooth ride. Let's go! It's the morning drive on 103.5 as we take you through the smoothest ride on AM to 9:30 a.m.
Getting your morning inspired, be informed. Let's interact only on the morning drive.
Make it a date with Martin Ifeanyi Chukwu aka Meta from Monday to Friday from 7 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. on the morning drive. 106.5 FM.
Umi ya kwa ene o mana akwa ka ege no onku esi onye obodo papa nko nke mbụ na mbụ onye ọbụla ya na-eje ebe ọ na-adị FM 103.5 maka mpịtọrọ ya